Hey, John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and it's sour ale time, and we're drinking some, and a commercial example of it. But last Sunday, I brewed another sour ale in the Lambic style, and I filmed it, so why don't we go right now, back in time, and see what I did on Sunday. Hit it! Thanks, guys, in the studio. It's a rainy Sunday. It's been a pretty good brew weekend. This is the second of two brews that I've done. This is my Lambic or sour ale that I am brewing from extract. There is 5 pounds of wheat malt extract in here, along with 4 pounds of Pilsner malt extract and 3.5 ounces of maltodextrin. For aged hops, since I didn't have any, I went with a lower alpha acid Hallertauer, and I only put in 3/4 of an ounce right at the beginning of the boil. I know you guys love boiling footage. It's really exciting stuff. So I'm going to end it here, and then we'll talk about what we're doing with this wort. We're going to put this on top of the bucket of dregs. I'm going to transfer the other sour ale that I have in my bucket into a glass carboy for more aging, and then this wort is going to go right on top of the dregs of the one that I brewed a year ago. So that's that, and I'll catch up with you next time. Hold on. One more thing before we get into the transfer of the wort. Have you guys seen Chinook hops? Well, now you have. These are growing in my side yard to go along with the Magnum that I have over on the other side of the house. And it's windy. Wow. Here's a close-up of a Magnum hop cone. It's not mature yet because it's only the end of June, but in September this will be ready to harvest. Okay, with the boiling done, first things first, we have to rack the old sour ale or Lambic into this glass carboy. I must confess, it is gross looking, but we get this one off into the carboy, and then we'll be able to take the wort that I just boiled and pour it right into this bucket with all those delightful bugs to start doing their things. And I'll add a little bit of dry American ale yeast to help it along. With last year's Lambic racked, this year's Lambic is going on the dregs of last year's Lambic. And here we go. Some nice aeration straight from the kettle. We're gonna sprinkle some dry yeast right on top of that. Safe Ale 05, just a half packet just to make sure things get going, and we'll put the bucket top on it, and then it's off to the races. I know, I'm using plastic buckets, I don't care. But that's it. Back to you guys in the studio. Hey, thanks, John. That was great. Isn't that great?
That's great.
Yes, yeah, good times. If you were watching closely, I had some close-up of some hops too, so growing in my backyard.
Growing.
So we have this goose. This is from the Castle Brewing Company of Belgium, Castle Brewery. We're drinking this because this is the dream. Next year at this time, I should have a couple of different sour ales to blend into my own goose at home. So what do you think of that, Michael? I mean, seriously. I mean, is this what we're trying to go after with, you know, this particular? I mean, we've been sipping this right before the camera started rolling.
I think one of the this is definitely the goal. This is pretty close to the goal. I mean, this isn't the best Lambic goose that I've ever had, but it's beautiful. It's great. It's dry. And it's definitely sour enough.
Yep.
It probably has a little more acetic acid than some people might like. But I guess the one thing I really want to say was that, you know, there's that wood character in the back of it, a little bit of a tannic finish to it, which I think that's probably going to be the hardest thing to replicate.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah.
It's just getting that wood character.
So I took another sample while I was brewing.
Is it more sour or less sour?
It's more sour.
Excellent.
But there's still a big Brett character to it. And when I drink this, not a lot of Brett.
It's very clean.
Yeah. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because the Brett's kind of, living along with everything else in there. And I kind of like that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's not as, it's definitely not as thin as this yet. I don't know if it ever will be. But.
Well, if you can still taste Brett in there, I would think in time it'll continue to dry out a little bit.
Yeah. And thin out too?
Yeah, drier and thinner, yeah.
So, anyway, so that's, check out the techniques I had in that video. We'll report on, how pouring new wort on old dregs worked out.
Has it started to
a little
get
bit,
magic yet? Is it getting fluffy on the top?
Well, it's in a bucket. I didn't open it.
Okay.
So,
that's fine.
keeping it closed.
Yeah.
Keeping it closed.
Good deal.
This
is the exact same bucket with all the dregs.
Oh, yeah. I didn't clean
all the
out
dregs.
nothing. Didn't clean out anything.
I predict that beer is going to be like at its 90% to its sour completion in like 3 months, right? 3, maybe 6, but 3 months for sure.
All right, well, we'll take a sample of 3 months and see what happens.
Some of the things I've read and listened to about it is that a lot of like the commercial American sour beer brewers, I mean, their beers are souring in less than 3 months' time. And it's because they're pitching really active blends of cultures and stuff. So I bet doing that almost a little bit of a Solera type technique, although it's not really a Solera, but you'll definitely have a more active culture there. And I mean, it is a year old, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was still kicking.
Yeah.
When I transferred it over.
You mentally have to start preparing yourself for brewing again in 6 months.
That's okay.
Right? Because then you really start getting it going.
Using extract is...
Oh, it's so easy. Yeah, I know.
The hardest part was actually getting it up to boil.
Yeah.
And once I got them to boil, I was like, okay, I'll be back in half an hour. Yeah. Just to check on things, and then...
Awesome.
And then, I was chilling it out, and then I was pouring it on, so... Anyway, that's that. More explorations into sour ales. Let's check in at 3 months and see how that goes. I'm going to take the dregs of this and pour this into the one that's a year old, and let's see what that does too. So, for Don and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on, sour on.
Cheers.
Cheers. Taste on.